Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tarot Solutions guest speaker series. I'm super excited to have Olga Bochareva. Did I say it right? Bochareva with me today.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, this is Russian last name, and it's not something that easily pronounceable. But Olga is perfectly fine.
Olga is fine. Very good. So Olga is an emotional freedom coach, which I love that title because to me, it's like, who wouldn't want to be emotionally free of those reactive emotions, right? That's a big part of what you do. And she's also a certified FasterEFT practitioner, which is why I'm so excited to have you here today. So welcome, Olga.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Lisa. I'm very, very happy to be here and love chatting with you, and just very pumped to share things that I've learned and things that helped me in my life and in my clients with your group, with your people.
Yes, and I have to say that I was really lucky to have a session with Olga last week, and it was unbelievable. I've been doing tapping for a while, but this is much more than tapping, isn't it? It's just much more layers that you can dive into.
Yes, when I learned tapping, I've been tapping on my own for close to a year, and I've had some amazing results as I've been doing it myself, starting from fear of public speaking. I had unmedicated childbirth, and which was like pain-free almost.
What?
And
you mean no drugs? No drugs, and you did it with FasterEFT or EFT?
Yes, I used a couple of tools. I used HypnoBabies, which was a wonderful tool to put you in a place of, okay, there's no pain, it's just pressure, which totally works. So I hypnotized myself. And then the minute when the baby was about to come out, I was like, oh, shoot, there's a cute pain coming out of me. So I started tapping. I said, it's okay, it's all right. And then 10, 15 minutes later, I was holding baby Vicky in my arms.
What? I've never heard of using that for childbirth. That's unbelievable.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I have a few clients who are pregnant, and I think they kind of find me because I resonate this, because it became one of my best memories. And I'm blessed not to have a lot of physical illnesses, and so I wanted to try EFT for physical pain. And I was like, okay, this is perfect opportunity. It was 2 years ago, I'm pregnant, so let's have a unmedicated birth. So I'm pleased to say it does work. I mean, there were some sensations and there were some painful feelings, but nothing like to where it was crazy or unbearable or I want to die. Or it was beautiful, like a meditative experience to where now as I think about it, every time it's like a happy memory. I go there, it's like, oh, it's powerful, it's inspiring, it's beautiful. So this is just one of my experiences with EFT that I had. And then down the road, I actually started interesting a little bit more, and I hired a practitioner to work with. At that time, I wasn't certified yet. And when I started working with the practitioners, oh my God, like 3 sessions after, I've decided to quit my full-time job.
Wow, that's a big leap.
So that was a big leap.
Yes.
Right? But that's where I could overcome my fears, and I could see things clearly. And a few months down the road, I was able to create a business that I like and enjoy, and a lifestyle to where I don't work 40 hours a week, and I work 25 hours a week, and I love what I do, and I'm building my EFT practice. So, yeah, it was a really interesting journey.
Well, I think having a childbirth experience like that would sell anybody on EFT, wouldn't it? I mean, that's just unbelievable. I love that. So can you tell us about the sort of the background of FasterEFT, where it started,
Yes. I started as an EFT practitioner, so let me talk a little bit about that. And then FasterEFT incorporates EFT as one of the modalities or one of the tools. Now, EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and simply put, it's like an emotional version of acupressure.
Okay.
It's very simple. All what you do, you tap on the points, and it looks really weird, but it really does work. So if you think about combining 5,000-old Chinese acupressure science with the neuroscience, with the modern neuroscience, then the combination of these two produced what's called EFT. And it's been founded in 1991 by Gary Craig, and I think he went from, within a year or two, from 0 to million subscribers.
Holy cool!
Because he was sharing this tool with the world.
Yeah.
Now, later down the road, I think in early 2000, Robert G. Smith was studying EFT, and then he started experimenting with this. So he was adding tools from NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, tools from hypnosis and other modalities. So he ended up creating what's called FasterEFT. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's you tap faster or you move faster, but but it does produce faster results. And then I'll give you an example of how I know why. So now FasterEFT stands for Faster Emotionally Focused Transformation. So it actually stands for a different thing, which is, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And, as I told you guys, so I quit my full-time job and I started working as a tutor. So at that time, I was a math tutor. And I'm working with this student. Her name was Emily. And she's a really sweet kid, but she's keeping having those headaches. And as you can figure, it's hard to do math when you have a headache.
Yeah.
So well, let me show you something. There's this technique. It's very simple. It's very easy. So we started playing around with it. And at that time, I learned FasterEFT. So I started incorporating things like picture switching, like what do you see? Not only the feeling, because EFT works most with the feeling and sensations. Mm-hmm. Now, FasterEFT takes it to different levels to where you can start seeing different ways you sort of represent the problem. So long story short, we tap in with Emily, and 10 minutes later, her headache is gone. And it's never been like that before, because, I kind of showed her, and she kind of liked it. But this was, I was like, wow. And that's where it got me thinking that there's something there that's really profound, So that's when I started studying FasterEFT, and then I learned about that, and I got certified as a practitioner.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? For one thing, I am a headache sufferer, a migraine sufferer, and to have a non-medicinal way to treat a headache would be unbelievable. And to know you have that power within you at any time when you're in the car. Like sometimes I'm away from the house, I don't have my medication with me, and I get a migraine. To know I could have this power within me to just do some tapping or whatever to help alleviate the pressure of that headache would be unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I just somehow organically, I almost became like a headache expert.
Really?
Because I attract people who have headaches.
Really?
And I help them get rid of it. So I personally work with 2 yoga teachers who had, one of them, his name is Sergio, he had headache for 15 years.
Oh my God.
And it was so bad, a friend of mine recommended.
He had a headache every day for 15 years? Oh.
Had it ongoing.
Oh my God.
Years. It would come and go.
Yes.
Like weekly or a couple
I know
times.
someone like that. She's had a headache almost every day for same thing, years.
Exactly. So his symptoms were very severe in terms of when it hit, it got to the point where he had to stop and sit down like that. Oh. He could think clearly, he could move. The pain was excruciating. Mm-hmm. And she was just looking at him, and she was just felt so bad for him. And said, listen, I know this friend of mine, Olga, she does EFT. So we started meeting with him and we had like maybe 2 or 3 months worth of sessions. And then there are different patterns came up. There are some things in the childhood, and the mom beating the dad, all these memories they are recording. Mm-hmm. And then we worked on the insomnia. There was a lot of insomnia issues around that too. Mm-hmm. So at some point he comes and said, "Oh, I don't have the headaches anymore." And I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Let's see if you can bring it back." Yeah. The truth is that illness is a skill. The reason why we get sick is we know how, on some level, on subconscious level. Mm-hmm. So his headaches are stopped. And one time we tapped in him during the session, and he told me a story about his ex-wife and what happened with her. And he was like, "Oh my God, I'm getting a headache." Yeah. So right then, he got a headache, and we tapped it out and disappeared. And that's for him was like really, really huge breakthrough to see how emotional issues spiked up, the physical level pain, and it went away. So this is just one story. And then the other story, another yoga teacher came to me. She actually came to my seminar here in Houston. I was giving 3 seminars. And she had what she called weather-induced headache.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And she had for 6 years. Yeah. And we were tapping actually on a rainy day. So it was a rainy day. It was a good day to test it. Mm-hmm. We worked, I want to say, for like maybe 30 minutes or so during the seminar. At that time, I already got better. I had more tools behind my belt. So it was gone. Oh my God. So we were able to heal her headache in 30 minutes.
What?
She sent me an email a few weeks later, and she said, "Olga, it didn't come back."
Oh, that's awesome.
Now, that was half a year ago, and I was presenting at a different event recently, and she was there, and she said, "Olga, I still don't have my headaches." So I was like,
yay! So when you first started, did you have kind of that healthy skepticism, like, I wonder, and test as you're testing it, wondering, how does this really work? Was that sort of the way? Yeah.
I've learned this technique from Brad Yates. Mm-hmm. You might have heard of him because he's a very famous EFTer. By the way, he's coming to Houston this weekend, so I'm very excited to go see him, so he can have presentations. But this is how it was. It was literally like this. I was sitting down at my computer. It was one of the telesummits or something like that, and he was talking about this technique called EFT, and he was like, okay, guys, just do it with me. All what you're going to do, you're going to tap on the forehead. I was like, what? And you're going to tap here, and you're going to say, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I release my pain. I release my fears. I was like, So I'm walking to the door in my study. I'm closing the door, make sure nobody can see me.
Because it looks so weird.
It looks so weird.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting tapping. So I'm doing this thing with him. And all of a sudden, first of all, I feel better. And second of all, it doesn't feel that weird anymore. I was like, that's kind of interesting. So fast forward 3 years, I'm working with people, and I'm tutoring math students. And sometimes we meet in a coffee shop, like at Starbucks, Barnes and Nobles. So right now, we sit in Barnes and Nobles and we just let it go, all the task anxiety, all the fears, the worries, the emotion. And, people don't even look at it. People don't even pay attention. But the truth is, and I mentioned to Liz last time we talked this, I want to see a world where people tap on the streets.
Yeah.
Where you can go for a walk and people just go like this.
And you'll know what it is. Oh, they're tapping. Yeah.
It's just tapping. I mean, everybody knows what tapping is.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the simplest, most profound tools to change how you feel in the moment.
So how does yeah, go ahead.
And the power of that is, I believe that emotional intelligence is like the foundation of true self-confidence. Mm-hmm. If you learn to take charge of how you feel, you live longer, you look younger, you're healthier, you have better relationships, and you make more money.
Yeah.
That's emotional intelligence. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So, but that's how it started. It was really weird at first. And now when I started seeing results, it's not weird at all. Because what's weird is doing that something doesn't work. That's strange. So.
And so let's talk about skeptics. I love your story you told me last week about your little skeptic you had. Because I think everybody who's probably watching this interview has some sort of either, if they haven't tried it themselves, they're probably like, really? I don't know. So tell me about that little skeptic again. Share with the...
Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
I had this student, so my math students, my best guinea pigs, I'm trying all the techniques on them. And there's this little kid, very, very sweet. Her name is Alexandra. And she has test anxiety, she's really gets stressed during the test, she gets fearful. And needless to say, when you go in a stress mode during something like that, which is mathematics or music, there's a part of your brain that physically shuts down. It's just pure biology. Mm-hmm. And you go into the flight or fright mode, you go to stress response, which is hard to think creatively. Mm-hmm. So first thing that I do when I work with my students, I address this topic because you can learn a lot, but if you come and test and you start freaking out all over the place, guess what? Even if you do know it, you will not be able to do it because you're blocking yourself.
And doesn't it keep reinforcing that same response? Every time you come to a test, you feel it, and then you...
Absolutely.
It's just this endless loop, right?
It is like a loop, yeah. Mm-hmm. So the key was to break it.
Yeah.
And then I go okay, well, let's just try it. And I go, okay, so what you gotta do is you gotta tap between, and she look at me like, what? And I go, just say, okay, this anxiety, it's safe to release it, whatever it comes from, I just let it go. And then she look at me, it's not gonna work. And she like, it's not gonna work. It's not working. It is not gonna work. I was like, don't worry, just stop with me. And she's like, that's not gonna work, And then, her grandma sits there and she's smiling. So we finish this whole process, and then I see her every week. So she comes to me next week, and then her grandma goes, Olga, she had the test and she did really good at it. Her teacher complimented her. She improved. I was like, oh yeah, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
so that was really funny to see how that played out.
Well, and I shared with you, and I'll tell everybody else too, my teenage daughter has audition. Well, she has test anxiety too. I mean, off the charts test anxiety. Needle phobia, that's another one. That'd be a good one to tap before you get a shot of some kind. But she has audition phobia, not phobia, anxiety. So before an audition, she gets very anxious, and it's actually affected her audition in the past, where she's felt like she just completely, her nerves took over. So just before this big audition she had, I said, just try tapping. Mom, I'm not going to do your woo-woo crap, okay? It's just woo-woo. And she's in the car, and I said, just try it. It can't hurt. It's not going to hurt you anyway. Fine. And she's doing it. It's not going to work. Same thing. Even though I have this audition anxiety, I deeply and completely, whatever, And then after she finished, I said, well, how do you feel? I'm telling you, it's not going to work. Okay, fine, I feel a little bit better, she says. and then she went to the audition, and we were there for quite a while, so I actually forgot that she did tapping beforehand. We're at the audition, and throughout the whole waiting room, which is the worst part, is waiting in the waiting room, looking at other people, oh my God. And she was so relaxed. She was chatting with people. I couldn't believe it. So she went to the audition, and she did flub. She did forget her lyrics twice, but it didn't actually, I could hear the whole thing, and she just would keep going and keep going. She didn't let it affect her at all, whereas normally that would have completely shut her down. And she ended up getting into this intensive program based on her audition, which was great. Yay! So I reminded her the other day, see, I told you it was a tapping. And she's fine.
This is awesome. I love the stories. My another student, his name is Anton, he's also my math student, but he came to me and I could see that he's had a hard time to focus. I go, like, what's on your mind? So he is actually a fencing student. He practiced fencing. And he said, well, I do this. I practice 2-3 hours a day fencing, and then I haven't won any tournaments in the last 2 years. I go, like, well, there's a simple technique. Would you like to try it? I was like, yeah, sure. So we started tapping, and then different layers came up. Like one of them had to do with his father, which is, he was kind of like against this whole fencing thing. Mom and dad divorced. And there was some other things that sort of showed up. And then it took us, a couple of months, but then things started happening for him. So first of all, he won one of the tournaments, then he won another one, then he went to the U.S. To represent U.S. So long story short, he actually is like the best fencing person in his group in the United States. I'm like, Anton, do you even believe that? So, and all what we did is we really just kind of worked on that, but here and there we addressed some of these emotions around that. And, the changes started happening. Yeah, it's rather profound. So personal performance, in terms of procrastination, in terms of allowing yourself to be better at something, EFT works wonderful on that. I use it in my own practice too, where I started building business, and all what I did is that, I have successful practice, and I am a tutor. And then next thing I know is I can visualize myself making the income that I want in 2-3 years down the road. 2-3 year month down the road, it's happening. So yeah, that's a beautiful place to use FasterEFT, but that's not the only way that FasterEFT works. Not the only area.
So when someone has a session with you, what can they expect? Because I've done it with you, so I know how amazing it was. I had no idea what to expect. So what kind of, and we touched on some of the things that FasterEFT can help with, which is physical, maybe pain, like obviously someone who's in chronic pain, it would probably be good for them. Anxiety, stress, depression, maybe? Does it help? Is there anything it doesn't help? It probably helps with pretty much.
Well, a good way to describe kind of like where and how to use FasterEFT is there's 3 major pillars of your life where you can use it.
Okay.
And the first one, we talked about it a lot, and that is for physical pain. And the truth is that pain is an emotion. Pain is an emotion. It's just a very loud one.
Yes.
And when I learned this concept,
I just had an aha moment for a second there. Pain is an emotion. I've never thought about it that way before. And we resist pain. In fact, people, and I'm not like this too, when we're feeling pain, we're feeling, we feel angry at the pain. We feel, we're resisting constantly the pain and not just allowing it, basically. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And a good way to describe how pain is formed in the body and what happens is kind of like, it's just a messenger. It's just something that it's telling us, okay, something is ripping in your psyche that's ready to let go, some kind of pattern, emotion, something that you've been storing to, and this is what this message is about. And it kind of starts like, first you have a bit of a discomfort in the neck, it just kind of doesn't feel good, but you kind of ignore it, you keep on going, all the stress building up, you're not addressing it. Next thing you know, you're getting headaches. Here and here, headaches happen. And I was like, all right, so you just pop a pill and you keep on going. And then you have migraines, really bad. I was like, okay, well, migraines. So what you're going to do is this boss, he's crazy, and my husband, he drives me nuts. And then you get a cancer. So basically, you have this incremental messages. At first, they are just really, really quiet. You get an emotion, and I said, hey, there's a red flag there. Something is ready to be addressed and released. And, I really like how I was working with my practitioner recently, and she said that unresolved emotions recorded in the body as illnesses. They stored as diseases. That's what they are. They unresolved emotions. Yeah. And then you guys probably familiar with Deepak Chopra, with the work of Deepak Chopra.
Yeah.
And I had a privilege to go to his seminar a couple of weeks ago. And he's talking about the 5 main pillars, or the 5 main areas to how to live a happy, successful life. And he talks about nutrients, and he talks about exercising, of course, and moving your body and getting rest and doing fun things. But then he said the most important thing that you can do for your well-being is your emotions. Wow. Your emotional state, he said, is number 1. You take charge of that, the other areas are also kind of coming together and they become part of it. So that was very profound. And as a matter of fact, I I know a gentleman. He's actually somebody that got close to me, and he has an interesting life in terms of he doesn't have a lot of stress. He's retired. He pretty much can do whatever he wants. He walks a lot. He eats very healthy. He's vegetarian. He understands. He's a former doctor. He understands how to take care of his body, and he is chronically ill. Oh. He has illnesses over and over and over again, one after the other, And, I talked to him and I said, well, what do you think, if it would be emotion that is behind it, what would it be? And he said, well, it's hate to my mother.
Whoa. Wow.
So this is obviously a big one, right? And it was very interesting for me to observe his life journey, because here's somebody in our society, the way we see healthy lifestyle, it's somebody who eats well, who exercises, who doesn't have a lot of stress. And he does all that. Yeah. And he still gets sick, but very often.
Yeah, this festering, hatred just simmering there.
Right. And then another quote that I want to share with you guys really quickly is by Eric Robbins, and you might have or may not have heard of him. He's a very famous doctor. He's one of the first doctors who officially started practicing EFT in his practice. He's a urologist. And he had a talk, and he was joking that once he started doing it, all doctors started sending all the difficult cases to him, which was a little overwhelming, but he was helping people. That was the bottom line. And he started training other doctors in this modality, so he's very big. And he's the one who said that 85% of all the diseases and illnesses in our doctor visits are contributed to our stress and emotions.
Yeah.
85%.
Yeah, that's such an important message to get out there.
This is how FasterEFT works in the health kind of industry, in the health arena. Now, the second most important way where you can use and you can help, help is FasterEFT is relationships. Relationships.
I don't know anything about that, Olga. Everything's fine in my house. I'll just share really quickly. Okay, so Olga helped me with this thing with my husband, who he tends to give unsolicited advice when I'm at, in my domain, the kitchen. And it was this issue with our gas stove, and it was this, I don't know, every time he gives me tips on how to use the stove or whatever, I go from zero to rage. I just go completely ballistic. And I recognize that it was a way overreaction. This was not normal irritation, which, it's normal to be irritated when someone is, giving you tips on something you know how to do. So I said, Olga, you have to help me with this. And that's what we worked on in my session. And I'm telling you, I can't believe what a difference it has made, because he's not here right now. He's out of town. But he's going to test me. He told me, I'm going to test you to see. And I'm glad. I'm glad he's going to test me. But every time I think about, and normally I would think about it and I would just think, and it really does not bother me at all. It's amazing. Anyway, so relationships. Go ahead. Even though,
and this is how it came into my life too, Lisa, because, my husband, I call him my best spiritual teacher.
Right.
The reason why I call him that is because he's the one who pushes my buttons.
Yes, exactly.
So he showed up in my reality to show me something about myself that I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to let go and improve, and there's some things that are ready. So, and then years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was in this place of probably marital crisis, you can say, and then things were going really bad. I was stressed out. He was stressed out. And, I was popping the pills because I couldn't go to sleep, and I was crying in the shower, and I was just angry for days. I mean, I was just angry. Silent treatment was my number one go-to tool.
Yes.
To solve any
I'm sure so many people are watching right now going, under really getting it, what you're saying.
And the truth is, Lisa, is that I tried some amazing resources. There's a marriage fitness that I tried, and then there's Mars and Venus, languages of love, and then I did meditation, and I did yoga, and all of that gave me some results. But what I was looking for is to release these patterns of, constant loneliness or feeling of guilt or feeling that I'm doing something wrong. This trapped feeling. That's what still kind of was lingering. And it's not until I started practice FasterEFT to where I was experiencing, longer periods of just pure bliss. It's not his fault. It's not our fault.
Yeah, exactly.
We're learning from each other. So
there's something about it that just it shifts it completely. As we were doing it, I remember saying to you, "Oh my God, I'm actually feeling like I totally saw him doing it to really help me. He wasn't doing it to be malicious or know-it-all, any of that.
Absolutely.
Whether that's what his intention was, it doesn't matter. The way I received it was he was helping me, and then I felt, then I totally understand. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And then it kind of brings us back to what is FasterEFT and what are the major beliefs behind it. And this is what really attracted me to FasterEFT versus classic EFT, because I started to see some very clear, almost like formulas, and I'm a math person, I like formulas,
yes,
to where I could see clear ways to get rid of some certain patterns fast. So there was structures behind grief or loss, or structures behind relationships or abundance. So we touched up on two areas right now. So we said health and relationships.
Yes.
So another one is abundance. So when it comes to money or relationship with money, it's an amazing tool to use because it cheapens off the layers of your beliefs about money, what you know, what monies are, how much you're worth in your life, how much you can accept of it. And there's this wonderful book, I think I had it nearby. Now, it has a kind of like weird name, but it's by Denise Duffel.
I love her. Yes, Get Rich Lucky Bitch. I've read it. I love her. She's a tapper too.
Exactly.
I love her. And it's all about releasing your money blocks. Yeah.
So true. So she talks about money blocks, and 80% of the work she does with the people is releasing unforgiveness. So it's forgiveness work. Isn't that interesting, guys? Yes. Money and forgiveness.
Who would have thought?
So 80% of the work she does is around forgiveness, and her number one go-to tool is EFT, as Lisa mentioned. And the last area to where, I used for myself and for my clients EFT is kind of, we can say self-confidence, relationships with yourself, or, performance, or procrastinations, or creativity. Now, I had this client that she came to me because she wanted to be more creative in her life, and she wanted to start doing something. She's an amazing, amazing lady. And she's in her early 60s, so she's older. She had a long life filled with different experiences. So we took a few weeks to work through some of the areas. And she's absolutely beautiful. So 3 or 4 months down the road, she's starting the school, which is the Conscious Business Design School. And she's opening her website. And I talked to her the day before yesterday. She said, Olga, I got 4 new clients. My website is up and running. I mean, it was just like, I go, like, you are my inspiration, because it's absolutely amazing how keeping all the layers of old hurts and negative feelings, it really unlocked what she wanted to do in her life. And she wrote a beautiful testimonial to me. She said that I problem solve better. My kids can see the difference. I can finally use this energy that I used to kind of digest all this old hurts and pains into what I want to do, which is create my business and help people, help women to be more empowered. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. And so tell me about how it actually works. We've talked about that. It does work, but what is the science? Because it is a science. There is a science behind it, right?
Absolutely. And there was some research done on how does the simple acupressure applied to this point affects your body and mind connection. And what happened is that as they did this research, they found out that the cortisol level dropped 50%. And cortisol is just the hormone of stress. You probably know that. And the scientists, they were just so high about it because they compared the talk therapy versus the tapping and releasing the emotions in the process. And I was like, there's no way it could be true. I mean, come on. So they had to stop the results and they had to retest it. And when they retested, the results were the same. It was still 50% drop compared to the regular counseling or talk therapy or psychotherapy. And so what happens on this deep level, we have this meridian that's running up and down the bodies, and each of this point connects to a certain meridian. So these are the organs that create stress in our body. So this is gut, bladder, and there's stomach, kidney, and when you grab your wrist, you have all of this meridian that runs down the hair, which is your heart meridian, and there's a triple warmer, so there's different amount here. Now, when you stimulate energetically, when you send energetic impulses to those body organs, you feel good. And again, there's a sign in the process you feel good because your cortisol drops. So what happens when you step into a bad experience or a bad feeling and you start doing this, you cannot feel good and bad at the same time. You can't feel good and bad at the same time.
You're right.
It's the same body organs that create this feeling. Yeah. It's the kidney, it's the stomach, it's the heart, because your heart starts pounding, your blood pressure goes up, right? So when you tap on this, it physically calms down those organs. Now, why is it happening? Nobody knows, but there are signals that go in there, and it is happening, and there's proof behind it. So this is kind of like in a couple of words and in 2 sentences to explain what's actually happened. So you put the good and the bad, and they collapse, and your body reactions are actually changing.
Yeah.
So if you, those of you who are watching this replay, guys, if you want to do a quick demo with me, just kind of try it out. Okay. So what I want you to do, guys, is to, first of all, think about something happy, good, and positive. Like have a happy memory, and it doesn't have to be anything big. Or it could be maybe like a vacation or marriage, or you had your first baby, anything like that. It could be something small, maybe like walking in nature, or you're getting a massage, or you're spending time with somebody. So pick a memory like that, close your eyes, and just kind of step into this. A good, happy memory. And as you go there, Lisa, just kind of, if you could follow with me and share what you experienced, tell me what you feel when you go to a good, happy memory. And maybe you can even share a couple of words where you are.
Yep. I'm at, it's my birthday, and I was in a beautiful bookstore that I love, and I was surrounded by books, and in totally my happy place. I feel relaxed, I feel content, I feel so happy, and just not a care in the world. I feel free.
And of course, notice you are not in a bookstore, you're right here, right now, and guys, if you're listening to this, go ahead and do the same thing. Find your happy place, and notice how your whole body changes. Maybe your shoulders drop, maybe you got a little bit relaxed in your back. And you start feeling these sensations right here, right now, because it's how powerful our mind is. So now go ahead and step out of it and go to a, maybe bad memory or an experience that you had recently that you know will make you stressful. So pick something that just really bothers you, irritates you, or something that you would like to change in your life.
I'm going to pick the noise that I was telling you about, because actually thinking about it is making my hands sweat. So I was sharing with Olga, I have this sensitivity to like noises like crinkling bags. It just makes, I feel so much irritation and stress when I hear that noise. My hands are sweating just thinking about it. So that's what I'm going into right now, and I'm feeling it already.
So what we'll do in this process, so now I will show you how to do it on yourself, but with the practitioner, of course, you'll have more tools and more layers on how to go deeper. But if you just do it with you, it's very, very easy, very, very simple. So what you'll do, just notice how much it bothers you. And notice how you know. How you know, and Lisa just said that there's a crinking noise, just that my palms getting sweaty. So notice those sensations. Now, as you do this, just step into this feeling. Notice how strong, so it's called, so you can rate yourself. So from a 0 to 10, where are you right now?
I'm a 9. Like, this drives me, I like I'm sweating. I have a tightness in my stomach when I think about it. I can't.
Okay. This is beautiful. So notice the tightness, and what we'll do, we'll just tap, and we'll say things that you're feeling. So we're just really acknowledging the sensations. We're stepping into this space, being aware. That's all we'll do. Ready? Okay, so take 2 fingers, guys, and just tap between your eyes. And notice and focus on your sensations, whatever is bothering you. So we will use Lisa's problem as an example. And what you guys say is, I release and let go.
I release and let go.
Of all the sweaty hands.
All the sweaty hands.
All the stress.
All the stress.
This noise.
This noise.
This fear.
This fear.
This tightness in my stomach.
This tightness in my stomach.
All the reactions.
All the reactions.
The anxiety.
The anxiety.
The worry.
The worry.
This feeling.
This feeling.
All over my body.
All over my body.
It's safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
And now, guys, as you tap, just focus on the fingertips touching your face. Just the fingertips. Put all your attention on the fingertips. Switch your attention completely to the fingertips. Got it? Can you do that, Lisa? Okay. It's all what you, and notice how nice it feels, right? Just touching your face. Right. And you just finish tapping, and then just grab your wrist. So, pulse around. Breathe in. Breathe out. And say word, peace.
Peace. Oh.
Right. And now go back to that happy memory. Step into this beautiful place that you were before. Well, guys, go to yours, the one that you had in mind. And then Lisa goes to maybe the birthday one or something else. Notice the sensations. Make them stronger. Really step into this relaxed feelings. Look at those books. You know how nice the books smell, right? This new book smell. Oh, I love that.
I do too.
Very good. And now open your eyes. And now you guys go back and check these sensations. See if it's still there. Notice how strong. So for you, Lisa, where are you right now?
Oh, it's way down. I would say a 2, to be honest with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So go bring it back. No, go bring it back. The actual crinking back.
I am. I'm doing it right now. But
do you have one in your house?
Oh, I do. Hey.
Oh,
I do.
Sorry, guys. We thought we'll test it. So this process called testing, to where you actually trying something, and then we'll do it anymore. So don't use it yet.
Nope.
So notice that 2. What does that 2 represent? How do you know it's a 2?
Oh, because my middle section, which gets so tight when I have the crinkle bag thing, it's loosened to a 2. It really has. And my hands aren't as sweaty.
What's left? How do you know it's not a 0?
Well, because as soon as you said when I thought you said go back to the crinkly bag, I could feel it go, start to come up.
Notice this feeling. and by the way, have you, like, any maybe memory comes to mind when you heard the sound and then something happened? And, sometimes your subconscious will bring in, sometimes it's not. Mm-hmm. Because, sometimes there's just millions and billions of memories and they all stored there. So not always something will pop up, but if something comes up, let me know.
The only thing I can think of, because I've thought this has plagued me for years. I mean, whenever I go to a movie, I've had to make my friends or family move because I can't stand the sound. It's really bad. It's not a joke. My family will say crinkling and they'll crinkle really fast to let me know what's happening. Like, it's terrible. I'd love to get rid of it. And to me, it feels like it's this lack of control, that I can't control this sound that's driving me nuts, okay? So that, I feel like, is the lack of control in my environment, which was my childhood, let's face it. I had a very chaotic, love my parents, but it was a very chaotic...
Right. So if you're working on this issue yourself, which is what we're doing right now, then you can notice the sensations. Mm-hmm. So it's the crinkling, and then Lisa mentioned it's a lot of control. And so what you'll do, you'll do something like this. I release this lack of control.
I release this lack of control.
This feeling that I'm out of control.
This feeling that I'm out of
control.
This
trapped feeling.
This trapped feeling, yes.
I release and let it go.
Let it go.
All this worry.
All this worry.
All the fear.
All the fear.
I'm so out of control.
I'm so out of control.
The sensations.
Sensations.
In my stomach.
In my stomach.
This R feeling.
Yeah, this R feeling. Yes.
Safe to let it go.
Safe to let it go.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Grab your ears and breathe in. Yeah.
Peace.
And say peace. Mm-hmm. And notice how when Lisa described her feeling, she said it's this R feeling, and there's not a word like that, but it doesn't matter. The beauty of this process, guys, if you can feel it, you got it. It's like right there. It's like, hi, I'm here. I can stay. I can let go. This is perfect. So feelings don't have words. Mm-hmm. Feelings don't have words. Mm-hmm. The beauty of this process and the simplicity of it is that once you step into this, that's what you do. You start tapping between your fingers. You start tapping by the side of the eyes, under the eye. So when I'm here, and then you grab your wrist and breathe in. And you say peace. And Lisa will send the link to you, share the link with you, where I'll be talking a little bit more about this process. And there's a FasterEFT.com website where you can go and you can find out more about it. It's extremely simple. My 4-year-old does it. She's tapping all the time. Every time I get in a car, I jump in a car, I start tapping because whatever residue I have there, I call it emotional flossing. So
emotional flossing, like teeth.
Flossing, right?
Oh,
right.
That's cool.
So if you don't brush your teeth for a while, if you don't take a shower, people will start looking at you funny, right?
Yeah.
So, but we don't take care of our emotional cleansing, our emotional state as nearly as much as the physical. But it's just as powerful.
It feels like we always have to push ourselves, It's not acceptable to feel what we're feeling because especially as women, we're supposed to be polite and nice and pleasant and not have these feelings, right? So we just don't express them as much as we should.
Yes. So Robert Smith, he calls us, people who kind of like run away from the feeling, which is we all do. Mm-hmm. He calls us, what's the word he used? Avoidaholics?
Yeah. Yes.
So that's a good
and all
word.
you're doing is pushing it down, which makes it more and more churny in your body.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a simple process that you all guys can use anytime, anywhere. I do it when I play with the girls. I get triggered. I start tapping. I said, okay, this emotion, I don't want to keep it. It's safe to let it go. I acknowledge it right there, right then. And I start tapping.
Oh my God! You just mentioned something with kids, right? Of course, because my kids trigger me almost more than anybody, right? And in those moments, it feels so, it just comes out because they're just
out of control.
Yeah, and I could tap, and actually and that was another quick question I was going to ask you: is you can tap for your children, right? If they're too little, or no, or should they do their tapping themselves?
Well, 2-year-old, when she had a fever, all what I did, I used this point, which is, the top chakra, the head chakra. And what I do when you tap on this point up here, you can massage the points for the little ones, for infants and so, because it's the same basic reaction. They'll get this electronic stimulus sent to these organs that calm down the whole body system, and it will activate their healing response. It will activate the system that, the body's wisdom to heal itself.
Well, colicky babies, I'd be interested if anybody out there, if any of you have a colicky baby, give it a try and then come back to Facebook to our page and let us know if it worked. That'd be interesting to see if a baby's colicky, and if you do some of that, that'd be amazing. So tell us about your upcoming webinar, which I'm so excited about. It's on Friday.
Yes, me too. I have a lot of people signed up, so I'm also really, really pumped up and happy about it. And you guys are also welcome to join. It's absolutely free. I'm not selling anything. I'll just be teaching and sharing what I've learned. And of course, what we'll do is this interview was more of an introduction for people who never heard about it. Now, on the webinar, we'll be going through actual techniques and actual processes. And the beauty of FasterEFT is that it has so many amazing, simple tools that you can use on your own to get to, a lot of issues and then release a lot of issues. Now, the first thing that we'll talk about is the 2 mistakes that people make when tapping and how to avoid them. We also will address some of the main modalities and simple ways to tap. One of them is tapping in the moment, and I'll kind of break it down for you, and I'll tell you what's the easiest way to use that. And the other important thing that I'll be teaching is a very, very important formula and tool. It's called the Art of Change. It's ART. And it stands for Aim, Release, Transform. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to address some of the patterns that are repeating. It's a great way to address relationships issues. It's a very easy format to go to the limiting beliefs and address limiting beliefs. So I'll be teaching you and walking you through the steps on how to use this Aim, Release, Transform process within the FasterEFT.
That's fantastic. And that's Friday, this Friday, right?
Yeah, it's this Friday. It's going to be 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay. And so I will include the links to all of Olga, to everything Olga in this blog post. So you'll have the link to her free webinar. So sign up for that because I will be there. Her website is Master the Art of Change. And you can also find out more about how to work with Olga on her website, as well as I'll have your link to your newsletter as well, so they can keep in touch with you and find out everything you're doing. So anything else you wanted to share before we sign off?
One last thing that I want to mention, guys, is that just about any tool that you use, it works when you use it. So there's this beautiful saying that Robert Smith used, who's the founder of FasterEFT, and he said that tapping is like a toilet paper. And then he goes say it works when you use it. And if you don't use it, you get a rash of problems.
Yeah, true.
So it's like a really weird but very funny and very true way to talk about these tools. So out of everything that I've tried and used, this is the one that really sticks around just because it's so profoundly simple and it brings results. And the biggest complaint that I get from people when I do webinars and seminars and even private sessions is that it's just too simple. It's just too simple to be true. Is it really going to work? And then if you go to my website and start clicking testimonial of people after people who get rid of the coughs and insomnias and the physical pains and creativity is finally there. And there's this lady who had horrible stomach ache and it was gone within an hour. After everything that they done in the hospital didn't work, she was released from the hospital and she still had this pain and we tapped and it was gone. So when you start looking at these things like, okay, maybe, it's worth a shot. So my challenge for you guys is try it. Try it, use it, come to a webinar if you can. If not, go check out FasterEFT or my website. I have a newsletter that I will be sharing some other things with you. And honestly, guys, my passion is to share this tool of emotional intelligence. Because just like I mentioned, emotional intelligence, the way I see it and the way I believe, is the true foundation for fulfillment in life.
Very good. I love it. What a great way to end this whole thing. Thank you so much, Olga. This has been an absolute pleasure. And I will see you around your website and at your webinar. I'm excited for that. And I really appreciate you joining us today. And thank you on behalf of my community. Have a wonderful... All right. Take care. Bye-bye.